Hi, Rachel. The entire speech community, I'm sure, is very happy to see you in a college speech environment once again. Before I say anything and we get started with this, I do want to say a gigantic thank you to the production company that I work for, the 180 Group. Now is a difficult time for production companies, especially ones based around event production. And a lot of events across the country are canceling. People are having to move into a digital space. My company is really good at moving things digital, but it's still fantastic if you support them. They've done a lot of work behind the scenes. Some of the multimedia things that you've seen on these videos have been through the 180 Group. So if you can just find them on Facebook, the 180 Group, they're based out of Minneapolis and also based out of New Jersey. If you can do that and like everything you can, that would be a huge help. It's just a first start in getting us more attention so we can hopefully get more business. And if you have more questions about that, let me know. All right, Rachel, it is on you. All right. Here we go. First off, thank you for being here. And how are you feeling about this event? What are your thoughts about this event in general? Just take a couple seconds and then we'll get into the real good stuff.
I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome to see just a celebration of all the hard work that people have been doing all year. It's really easy in this time to say like, okay, we'll just try it again next year. But this is an opportunity for everyone to get together and still do it this year, and I think that's really good for the college community, especially.
Cool. Awesome. So my first question for you is, what does it take? What do you have to do to make a great ADS?
Ooh, you have to be extremely vulnerable. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that surprised me when I first started doing ADS. I went into my first round ever. And afterwards, I like went into the hallway and sobbed because I had no idea how like vulnerable you have to be. It's so easy to be like, oh, I'm just gonna be funny, and then when now you're depending on someone else to laugh, it's like you're standing up there naked basically. So if you could like, I don't know, harness some trust with yourself, and not only yourself, with the community around you. And if you build that trust and build that community, that vulnerability is going to open you up and like allow all of the good things that come from ADS. So like those off the cuff jokes, that's all being vulnerable. Like if you don't trust yourself, you can't make those jokes that could potentially bomb in front of people. So I think that's my number one. Like vulnerability leads to a genuine performer. A genuine performer will have everybody cracking up.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm sure you also mean like it's so much about trust, and it's about like caring about your audience, getting your audience to love what you're doing, but also, you know, knowing that sometimes they might not laugh, and that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to think you're funny more than anyone else thinks you're funny.
What do you think is the most important part of an ADS?
I think the intro. I think the intro is the biggest part. It's I think where ADSs go to live or die. Just because of our attention spans, we're like, okay, what is it? Tell me, like, what's going on?
Yeah, and what do you think is the big difference between somebody who's incredible at ADS, somebody like you who won like everything and everybody loved, and then like just other people that are almost that good? Like maybe the other people in the final that you beat, right? What's the difference between you and them? This is more piece of advice for people to say, maybe you can reach this extra thing, because I have my idea of what the difference is.
Oh, okay. So like, are you talking about that little difference between the 1 and the 2?
Sure.
Okay. It's really hard to describe, but it's that like, it's that one moment in an ADS that everyone remembers. It's that like, oh my God, kind of thing that happens. For me, I always created that moment. I tried to create that with and something in my environment that like no one else saw. The piano thing, for example. For some reason, no one noticed there was a piano in the room. That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, I'm gonna make a joke about the piano, and that created the oh my God moment. And if you have people like, how did that happen? I think that is what is the little separation between like the 1 and the 2. Because like at the end of the day, everyone is an amazing writer. Everyone is a good is good on their feet and all that stuff. But if you have that like that one moment that makes people go, "Oh my God," I think that's what it is. And I don't
Yeah,
know how to define it.
no, but that totally makes sense. For me, it's really about how somebody plays with the audience, right? And that usually comes in from like thinking about something new, it's creative, being able to adapt to a space. One of the things that I used to do, this is a fun tip for anybody watching, as a coach, I would go to the room where my student was going to perform. Let's say it was a quarterfinal, semifinal, or even final, and look around the room ahead of time and be like, that thing could be funny, that thing could be funny, that thing could be funny. And of course, I'm only doing that with students who I think are like capable of handling things on the fly. Others, I'm just like, do the thing that got you there. Don't make any changes. I mean, that's usually the best piece of advice for everybody at home. But yeah, for some people, like if you know the right students that know how to work with that, it's like maybe this idea, that idea, this idea, those are concepts of jokes, have fun, and that type of thing. They usually can then, it's inspiring and they can play with it. But usually after they've seen me do this with certain students, they all pick up on it and they start to learn on it. So I don't know. Northwestern was wild with ADSs sometimes. So
I thought that was like the craziest thing. It's like you guys constantly were pushing the boundaries, and I love that. And like those are the oh my God moments. Like I think Sophie did an off the cuff one. It was my first year of coaching. I went back and something that she did, I think she did a callback to someone else's speech, and I literally was like, like I screamed. I didn't even laugh. I just screamed audibly. And that, I mean, those are the moments.
Yeah, Sophie is a one-of-a-kind personality too. That is just like, I never. I was Sophie from the very beginning. I was like, okay, don't change everything so much. Don't change everything, because it was a very different speech at the very beginning. And as Sophie developed, it turned into this beautiful thing where Sophie was able to just play off of the audience and know when to like just do something new or random or weird, and when the audience would love it, and when to just like stick to the script and all that. So that's fantastic. So I have a couple other questions for you about your high school coaching now, because you're obviously a director at an incredibly like impressive program. And I want to ask, what's a funny story about a student, or what's a funny story about your experience there?
I think my first year coaching high school, I spent a lot of time just like, this is so different, this is so different, this is so different, but I could never like pinpoint the differences. I just like felt like I was a fish out of water. In my second year, I definitely noticed a big thing about high school students is that they have a lot of feelings, and they are not afraid to just feel them in public. And I think that's so different from the college circuit, because at least for me, I feel like college students are like, I'm presentable, I'm always on. Like if I'm upset, I'm going to go to the bathroom and deal with it, or I'm going to go in the van and deal with it. And that is not the case for high schoolers. They break down whenever. So specifically, my little unit of extempers, they have created this tradition called Sad Boy Hours. And Sad Boy Hours exist whether you are a boy or a girl. The hours are just called Sad Boy Hours. And if you're sad during the tournament, they set a time. So they're like, at 3:30 before prep, we're going to have Sad Boy Hours. And I kid you not, they will join at 3:30 at a tournament and play their Sad Boy Hour playlist on their phone, stand around their phone, and just vibe. And the first time I saw this, I was like, so what are you doing? What's going on? What's this circle? And they're like, Miss West, it's Sad Boy Hours. And I just couldn't stop laughing. This is you and all of your weird teenage angst and also speechiness combined to create a scheduled on time feelings party.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Since we only have about a minute left before people have to get going and move off to their rounds and watch the next set, which is poetry, I believe. Can I just hear from you? What is a story or an incident or a student? I don't care, but someone who's inspired you or something that's inspired you from your time coaching.
Man, it's hard to pick one thing. They're all extremely inspiring. The biggest thing is teaching them that they could be so much bigger than what they think they can be. I had a student who had never done speech and debate before, and she barely spoke English. And the first speech that she wrote in, forgive me, Tagalog. She's Filipino. And then she translated it into English. And from the ground up, learned it, practiced it, performed it. And she got her first one at a tournament and broke down in tears. And she was like, I've never felt validated like this before, and I've never felt that people wanted to hear what I had to say. But that's super inspiring, to teach like a 15-year-old who's like, I don't really care anything about anything or barely care about myself, and turn them into this person who feels like they're so powerful and they can do anything. So cool.
Sounds like you have the coaching bug all the way through, which I understand. You can never quite get away, even when you want to. Sometimes you just you love it and you want to keep giving back because it's a beautiful experience. So thank you, Rachel. We're out of time, but I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure to have you here, and good luck with the rest of the season and with, I guess, whatever high school online things that happen. Let's hope it works out really well.
Thank you.
We'll see how it goes. I'll see you later.